What's going on, y'all? How you guys doing? My name is Alec, founder of Chord Academy, and I just wanted to start this little. I don't know if it's going to be a video series or not, but like raw talks, with a musician who's really devoted to his craft. Wanted to kind of just share some of my insights about the process of getting fluent and roadblocks and all of that, and maybe this kind of thing will help you because usually it's so funny when you look at my profiles. It's really just all music and stuff, and you can feel me, you could feel like what I do from the videos that I put out, but I haven't really put out much of anything with me actually speaking in long form, kind of raw format. And this is the kind of thing that I do with my coaching clients, my coaching program. But yeah, so created this thing, Nucleus. I've really built this to be like a really revolutionary new ear training system. And when I say new, I don't mean like it's like alien technology or anything like that, obviously, right? It's just something that I don't really feel has been done in the music education industry. And we'll get to that. But first, let's talk about acquiring harmony, getting fluent in harmony, right? So, I've been around and I've talked to a lot of people, and I've seen and heard a lot of people playing and stuff like that. People that are just beginning to get in the game, people that maybe are even in production and they want to be fluent in harmony and chords to um, make really feel good music in terms of their producing and stuff like that, right? Um, so there is a particular way that you can become fluent in harmony and chords, um, but there are multiple ways, and they don't always lead to the same result. So there's like this huge difference between uh, technical prowess and emotional intelligence, right? I feel like what a lot of musicians are looking for is a high level of emotional intelligence when they're creating, right? Because you actually don't need like a lot of tools and every single chord choice in the book in order to make your music emotionally powerful. As a matter of fact, I would even go to the extent of saying that there's a point you can cross where music is too technical that the majority of the population won't really relate to it and can't truly enjoy it and emotionally engage with it. Um, it's funny. I grew up on like 70s soul, like my granddad hanging with like Al Green and all that stuff. But also like 90s R&B, 80s R&B, my dad, huge 80s and 90s R&B head. So I kind of grew up with that. But also in the 2000s, seen early 2000s alternative rock, 2000s R&B. That's my jam. That's my native language. You know what I'm saying? Um, and a lot of that stuff is harmonically quite simple. Now, when I say simple, I don't mean like 1 4 5 major, where it's like you're harmonizing Mary Had a Little Lamb, but I mean simple as compared to, more complex jazz stuff. And it's like there's so much power in choices inside of relatively simple harmony. And I feel like that's really the thing that most people want, but they don't really realize how to get that, right? Because on the other extreme, you can kind of say, "Hey, I'm going to become technically the best player," right? And you've seen some of these musicians out here that have really, really flashy playing, right? And it seems like they're just, oh my gosh, the stuff they're doing is like so technically complex, and I can't take that away from them, right? But to me, I don't really receive that emotionally. You know what I mean? There's no emotional intelligence in the choices that are being made that communicates an emotion to me. And so for me personally, as a musician, I just don't care about that, right? Um, I care about making music that is emotionally potent because uh, music is the transmission of emotion through sound, right? So how do you do this? Like, how do you build this relationship with music? Be able to communicate yourself musically in a way that is emotionally potent, that people will feel, and it just makes them feel good, makes them want to listen to your stuff over and over again. It makes your music addicting to listen to. Um, how do you do that, right? Now, I don't mean to sound all woo-woo, right? But the first thing you need to do is become a great listener, okay? Um, it's super, super duper important that you become a true lover of music before you become a great musician. Or let me say it differently. You need to become a true lover of music before you become a great musician. And I don't mean just like being able to say, oh, that's cool. No, I mean like finding your favorite players and musicians and songs and really listening to them over and over again and allowing yourself to feel the emotion that the music is communicating. And it is only through deepening your capacity to feel emotion through other people's art that you are going to be able to increase your ability to uh, emotionally output at a high level when it comes to music, right? So that's really important. And of course, you need technique in order to um, you need technique in order to be able to communicate yourself on a high level, right? But there's a level technique where you kind of get diminishing returns, I would say. So yeah, let's talk about how do you become fluent in harmony, right? So essentially, um, what you'll want to do, I call this my harmonic acquisition process. The main idea behind this is that if you take music that let's say 30 songs, I call this the core 30. If you take 30 songs that uh, you already love and you're already familiar with, are already in kind of your long-term memory, right? And you learn everything that there is to learn about those songs, and actually not really everything that there is to learn because there could be a lot of detail in there, right? What you want to do is be able to understand the chord structures behind these 30 songs, right? Um, and listen to them over and over again. I mean, hundreds of repetitions of each song, right? Um, and in mastering 30 songs that you absolutely love and you can listen to all day, um, what that'll do is it'll organically cover probably about like 80 to 90% of all of common practice harmony. And that's how I got fluent in 2014. It happened literally in 3 months. I went from not being able to hear or understand chords whatsoever to 3 months later being able to turn on the radio and reasonably, right, like barring like advanced jazz stuff, but regular, pop, R&B, alternative rock, all that stuff, I could hear the chords in real time, reproduce them. Um, and once you develop this skill, that is your gateway to being able to communicate emotionally through your music, right? Um, it really is a comprehension thing. Like when people are making music and it doesn't feel good, they don't know how to make it feel good. They don't know how to take the chords from their head and put it on the canvas in the DAW, right? Um, it really is a comprehension issue, right? So the question that I would ask you is, are you able to listen to uh, just a random song, pull up a random song and hear the chords, understand the chords, be able to reproduce it, right? If you can't do that, then there will be a natural disconnect between you and the emotion you're trying to create when it comes to creating music, right? Um, because if you're going to the keyboard and you're kind of doing like a trial and error thing every time you're trying to produce a song or find the chorus to a song, I mean, it could work, right? But I would say you're actually kind of dampening the connection between your true emotions and what you want to express and what actually is expressed. This is just my philosophy. I've literally heard people say like, I don't want to learn music theory because it'll make me like less creative or too technical. And I'm like, that is so not true. That is so not true. I guess if you learn music theory in a classroom and it becomes an intellectual prison because you don't actually have it connected to the music, then yes, right? You're like doing math to figure out the progressions that you want to use. But theory in the sense that you can listen to anything and already understand the theory behind it, know what the chords are that are being produced, know which tensions, nines and 13s go on which chords in order to create the sound that you want before you even have to do any trial and error or tinkering around, right? You already have a mental model of what you want to create based on the emotional impression that's already inside of you, right? That is the power that comprehension gives you. And yeah, I feel like going through my life path, right? Like um uh, go in high school, right? My last 2 years of high school, like getting fluent in harmony, going really hard on keys, then going into Berkeley, um, I feel like my playing, like, how do I say this? The people around me were always attracted to my playing because it had this very intentional quality to it. And now I'm understanding where that comes from. It comes from the fact that I focused on comprehension first. I focused on listening first, right? Um, because the opposite is that you're interfacing with the keys before you truly understand harmony. Well, you have to play while you're getting fluent in harmony, duh, right? But you're trying to take your keys playing to the highest level before you can truly comprehend harmony. And what that does is it makes your fingers go on autopilot. You're just operating off of muscle memory at this point, you know? Um, so yeah. Harmonic acquisition. There are some more details in that process, of course, right? It's not just breaking down those songs that you love. You have to kind of set the groundwork for it, right? So the first thing I can think of here is you have to be able to identify the tonic, right, inside of a progression, right? This is a feeling you can't really like. I mean, there's theory behind it, right? A major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The location of one, where is that? Sonically, what does that feel like, right? You have to be able to identify that by heart, okay? Then from there, you have to be able to, in the context of the major and relative minor scale system, you have to be able to listen to, a bass line and be able to track that, associate numbers with it, right? It's diatonic chords, diatonic harmony, diatonic system, also known as the number system, right? For some of you. And once you do that, then from there, you can kind of learn the theory, diatonic chords, secondary dominance, modal interchange, tritone substitution. All harmony technically boils down to is a scale system, a location inside of the key, right? Is the bass note on 4, is the bass note on 5, is the bass note on 2, and then a quality that we've stacked on top of that, right? Major, minor, major 7, minor 7, dominant 7, dominant 7, sharp 9, flat 13, right? Becoming familiar with all these structures. So yeah, that's generally how the process of becoming fluent in harmony works. Developing that foundation. When you're ready, hop onto those songs that you already listen to every single day. And it's the repetition that really drills things home for you. Because I feel like when you are taking a music theory class, for example, right? It's good in the sense that they explain the theory to you so you understand it on an intellectual level. And then they demonstrate or give you an example. But oftentimes that example is not something that you've listened to before, something you're not familiar with, something you're not emotionally attached to. And so what happens is after that day of class, you only have one example that you heard once of that theoretical concept, and it doesn't become like native language to you. It's something that you actually literally have to sit there and like, what did we learn on that day of class again? Right? And so the missing ingredient there is repetition, right? That's why I say use songs that you already listen to every single day. Because if you do that, then you can learn the theory behind the song, break down the song, understand the chords of the song, and then play around with that song and listen to it every single day. That's how you really like wedge all this stuff in your subconscious mind, right? All right, let me look at my notes. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah. So something that I kind of discovered, right, in my coaching program and all that, is that when it comes to developing this fluency, you need like a short time where you're going hard, right? I don't really think that this is something you can do on 20 to 30 minutes a day. That's kind of too little. Because you want to think about it like this. You're trying to get fluent in a language, right? I have a perfect analogy, actually. In high school, most of us took a foreign language, right? I took Spanish personally. And I took this from 6th grade all the way to senior year. That's 6 years of study, right? And we would do it for 40 minutes a day, right? And we still didn't get fluent. I mean, how many of you got fluent in your language that you studied in high school class with no outside intervention? Probably 0%, right? So music is the same way. Like, I mean, I suppose you could get fluent in the course of years if you're practicing that small amount of time, but you could really condense this thing. 3 months. That's all you need if you can get into an obsession state where it's all you think about. Because it just makes the connections happen faster, you know? Yeah, so let's get into this thing right here. What is this? Why did I make this? What is the purpose of this? So Nucleus, you know, I love physics, y'all. Nucleus is the center of the I don't want to say fundamental particle because there's like quarks and stuff like that, but nucleus, it's like the fundamentals of matter, right? Fundamental building blocks of matter. And so what I wanted to do is build a method that brings you back to the fundamental way that we learn music. And that is through listening, right? And experience, direct experience. And I think that that's kind of what's missing from a lot of tutorial video based teaching. Not saying that that doesn't have value. It has immense value. I've made courses that have helped people, go in, go hard, and achieve a massive transformation of ability with them. But can we make this more efficient? I believe that we can. So what I've done is essentially I've made a musical catalog of songs where there's 2 versions of each. There's the clean version, and then there's a version that has me analyzing the harmony in real time while I'm actually singing it. And so you can listen to that over and over again, no matter where you are, and it's going to keep telling you the harmony. And through that repetition, it'll make you fluent in harmony, because what's going to naturally happen, certain songs, certain harmonic sounds have labels attached to them, right? So if you can constantly hear a certain sound and have a certain name that's associated with that, you will eventually categorize those names. And it will happen very quickly if you can create high amount and frequency of repetitions. So if you're listening every single day, so that's what it takes, right? Like when I say I got fluent in harmony in 3 months, it took me 3 months, but every day I was focused for several hours per day, right? And then of course I had the skill forever. So totally worth it, if you want to do it naturally, the old fashioned way like that, right? But it's so better to go hard in that condensed period of time than it is to like take traditional lessons for years and kind of take it slow. But to each their own. People have different goals, and I completely understand that. I wanted to become a professional musician. I wanted to become it quickly. you know um so going back to Nucleus, yes, so there's a clean track and there's a track with verbal analysis on it. And not only do these tracks have analysis that comes with them, but I've made each of these tracks extremely musical to the point where it is addicting to listen to them. It's going to make you come back every single day. Um, y'all should see what my clients are saying in the beta test. I have this coaching program, and I basically set up a beta test inside of there. Anyone in my coaching program was able to beta test uh, Nucleus if they wanted to, and they are absolutely loving it. It's already creating breakthroughs for my clients in the program, even faster than me directly coaching them, right? Because, to have a track playing that's they can listen to over and over again, doesn't matter where they are. They could be in New York City, going on the subway, listening, right? But they're still learning, they're still absorbing, right? And this is actually what starts to happen naturally once you're at a high enough level, like you can absorb harmony. And this is what happens to me when I'm like out every day. Like if I hear something I've never heard before, um, even if I haven't played it or experienced it before, I can usually figure it out pretty quickly because I have so much contextual information, right? Like I already know the rest of the chords except that one little thing that they did, whatever it may be. I know what bass note it is inside of the key, right? And I can track what quality it is. I have all of these like upper structure things, upper structure polychords that I've memorized, like flat 6 major upper structure on a dominant chord, right? Creates that sharp 9 flat 13 kind of sound. So I have all of those. I can kind of just trace down and do it by process of elimination. But on the other hand, when you're in the position of more of like a beginner, maybe you're lower intermediate, you're not really truly fluent in harmony yet, right? You can't do this absorption, this natural absorption from just listening to music. So what I've done is I've made this possible from the very beginning. You can come in as a beginner and listen to the catalog, organized catalog that I've made inside of Nucleus, and instantly start connecting the sounds with labels. And of course, Nucleus isn't just a bunch of songs, like a list of songs that I have analyzed. Like there's supporting material around it. We don't actually get directly into the songs until phase 3 of the program. Before that is all the prep work, right? So very first phase 1 is you have to be able to listen to any piece of music and identify what the tonic is, right? Super duper important, because if you don't know what the tonic is, you do not even have a picture of the map, right? In order to have you understand subconsciously the harmonic sounds that are being used, you need a framework, and you need to not just understand that framework intellectually, but you need to be able to hear something and be able to mentally visualize a framework and see things and hear things actively happening inside of that framework. So that's basically what phase 1 is, setting up that framework and allowing you to identify the tonic. Then, of course, you have to be able to track root motion, bass motion, right? So that's the phase 2. And then phase 3 is when we finally get into functional harmony, right? Being able to hear progressions and be like, oh, yeah, that's a XYZ chord progression, right? So that's kind of the idea behind Nucleus here. I don't know when you're watching this. I'm actually shooting this before official launch. But you can check for that probably in the link in my bio. I'll have it somewhere over there. But yeah, I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about this whole thing. I know this is a kind of a rambling format. Let me know if, this is a little too rambly. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this. But yeah, so let me know if you have any questions. If you want to know how to, if you want to work with me and you want to know how to get started with me, you can DM me if you're unclear about that. But yeah, sending y'all love, and I will see y'all later. Peace out.